The red emergency lights flashed across the medical bay of Asclepius Prime. As Dr. Velthak checked his instruments for the third time, his forearms moved with practiced precision, each hand performing a different task while his large compound eyes scanned the incoming data feeds. The distress signal had been beeping for over 3 hours now, coming from somewhere near the dangerous Outer Rim territories where few ships dared to travel. "Doctor, we have visual contact," announced Nurse. Cawthor blue-scaled fingers dancing across the communication panel. "It's a human cargo vessel. It's heavy damage to the hull." Dr. Velthak's secondary arms reached for his diagnostic tools while his primary hands continued monitoring the emergency frequencies. Humans were still relatively new to the galactic community, having joined the spacefaring civilizations only. 50 years ago, most alien doctors knew little about their biology beyond the basic medical files that came with their species. Registration. The massive medical station hummed with activity as rescue shuttles prepared for launch. Asclepius Prime was known throughout the galaxy as the finest medical facility in this sector. Staffed by the best surgeons from dozens of different worlds, Dr. Velthak, an Ixarian with over 2 centuries of surgical experience, had earned his reputation by successfully treating patients from 47 different species. Rescue shuttle returning to dock, came the announcement over the intercom. "Prepare Emergency Surgical Bay 7 for immediate trauma surgery." The docking bay doors opened with a mechanical hiss, and the rescue team rushed inside carrying a human male on a biostretcher. Dr. Velthak's trained eyes immediately assessed the patient's condition. The human appeared to be in his 30s, with dark hair and pale skin that showed clear signs of shock and blood loss. "What happened out there?" Dr. Velthak asked the rescue team leader as they wheeled the stretcher toward the surgical bay. "Cargo. Bay explosion, doctor, metal fragments everywhere." "The captain here took the worst of it trying to save his crew," the rescuer replied, breathing heavy from the emergency extraction. Dr. Velthak's scanners began their preliminary readings. As they moved through the corridor, the human's vital signs were weak but stable. However, the internal damage readings made the experienced surgeon pause. According to his instruments, the patient's liver had been completely destroyed by shrapnel. "Nurse Koth, prepare for full organ replacement surgery," he ordered, his forearms already reaching for different medical tools. "Contact the organ bank and request a human-compatible liver. Priority status." The surgical bay filled with the soft blue glow of medical equipment as Dr. Velthak's team prepared for what should have been a routine procedure. He had performed thousands of organ replacements throughout his career, working on species ranging from the crystalline Zephyrians to the gas-breathing Volthans. Each species had its own unique challenges, but the basic principles remained the same. "Patient identification confirmed," Nurse Koth announced, reading from the medical scanner. "Captain Kim Taeho, age 34, human male. No known allergies or previous major surgeries." Dr. Velthak studied the patient's unconscious form. Humans were fascinating creatures, smaller than most galactic species, but surprisingly resilient. They had earned respect throughout the galaxy for their courage and determination, often taking on dangerous missions that other species would avoid. Their homeworld Earth was known for its harsh conditions and violent history, which many scientists believed had shaped their bold nature. "Doctor, the organ bank reports a 3-day wait for a human-compatible liver," Nurse Koth said, her voice showing concern. "The patient's condition is too critical to wait that long." Dr. Velthak's compound eyes studied the scanner readings more carefully. The human's liver was indeed destroyed, but his other organs seemed to be functioning normally despite the trauma. Perhaps they could use a synthetic organ or modify one from a similar species. "Prepare the artificial organ chamber," he decided. "We'll create a biosynthetic liver using the patient's own cellular samples. It's not ideal, but it should keep him alive until we can find a proper replacement." As the surgical team prepared their equipment, Dr. Velthak couldn't help but feel curious about human biology. Their medical files were surprisingly incomplete compared to other species. Most of what the galactic medical community knew came from basic examinations and emergency treatments like this one. "All systems ready, Doctor," Nurse Koth reported. Dr. Velthak positioned himself over the patient, his forearms steady and ready. The surgery ahead would be challenging, but he had never lost a patient yet. As he made the first incision, he had no idea that he was about to witness something that would change everything the galaxy thought it knew about humanity. The operation began in routine fashion, but within hours, Dr. Velthak would drop his surgical tools in complete shock at what he discovered inside the human body. 6 hours into the surgery, Dr. Velthak's steady hands worked methodically inside Captain Kim's abdomen. The artificial organ chamber hummed softly in the background, slowly building a biosynthetic liver from the patient's cellular samples. Everything was proceeding according to standard protocol until his primary diagnostic scanner began making unusual sounds. "Nurse Koth, check the scanner calibration," Dr. Velthak said without looking up from his work. "I'm getting strange readings from the liver area." His forearms continued their precise movements while Nurse Koth ran a complete diagnostic on all the medical equipment. The blue-scaled alien's fingers moved quickly across the control panels, checking each system twice. "All equipment is functioning normally, Doctor," she reported. "Calibration is perfect on all scanners." Dr. Velthak paused his work and looked more carefully at the readings. According to his instruments, there was cellular activity in the destroyed liver tissue. Not the normal decay process he expected, but something that looked almost like growth. His compound eyes focused on the scanner display, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. "This cannot be right," he muttered. Using his secondary arms to adjust the scanner settings while his primary hands remained in position, dead tissue does not show cellular regeneration, but the readings remained consistent. The scanner was detecting new cell formation in the areas where Captain Kim's liver had been completely destroyed. Dr. Velthak had seen many strange things in his 2 centuries of medical practice, but nothing like this. "Nurse, bring me the microscanner," he ordered. "I need to examine this tissue more closely." The microscanner was a delicate instrument that could analyze cellular activity at the molecular level. Dr. Velthak carefully positioned it over the damaged organ area, and what he saw made his 4 hands freeze in place. New liver cells were growing, not slowly, as might happen in some species with minor regenerative abilities, but rapidly and systematically. The cells were organizing themselves, forming the complex structure of a healthy liver.
Oh.
The growth was so fast that he could actually watch it happening in real time. "Impossible," Dr. Velthak whispered, his voice filled with disbelief. He had studied the biology of 47 different species. Some had remarkable healing abilities. The crustaceans could regrow lost limbs over several months. MERS could heal wounds quickly in water. But no species could regenerate a completely destroyed organ in a matter of hours. "Doctor, what are you seeing?" Nurse Koth asked, noticing the surgeon's unusual stillness. "Watch the scanner display," Dr. Velthak said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Tell me what you observe." Nurse Koth leaned over the scanner screen, her blue eyes widening as she saw the readings.
"Doctor."
"It appears that the liver tissue is growing. But that's not possible for humans, is it?" Dr. Velthak didn't answer immediately. He was too busy watching the most incredible biological process he had ever witnessed. The regenerating tissue was not just random growth. It was organized, purposeful, and incredibly fast. New blood vessels were forming, connecting to the existing circulatory system. The cellular structure was perfect, showing no signs of damage or scarring. "Cancel the artificial organ procedure," he said suddenly. "We won't need it." "Doctor, are you certain?" Nurse Koth asked with concern. The patient's original liver was completely destroyed. "Look at the scanner," Dr. Velthak replied, pointing with one of his secondary arms. "The patient is growing a new liver, a completely functional, healthy liver." 2 hours later, Dr. Velthak stood staring at the scanner readings in complete amazement. Captain Kim's liver had regenerated entirely. The organ was not just functional, but appeared to be in perfect condition. There were no signs of trauma, no scarring, no evidence that it had ever been damaged. His surgical tools lay scattered on the floor where he had dropped them in shock. In all his years of medical practice, through all the strange and wonderful biology he had encountered across the galaxy, he had never seen anything like this. "Doctor, should we complete the surgery?" Nurse Koth asked quietly. Dr. Velthok realized he had been standing motionless for several minutes, simply staring at the impossible sight before him. Yes, but only to close the incision. The patient no longer needs our help. As he worked to close the surgical site, Dr. Velthek's mind raced with questions. Was this normal for humans? Did their medical files somehow fail to mention this incredible ability? Or was Captain Kim unique among his species? The implications were staggering. If humans could regenerate destroyed organs, it would revolutionize everything the galaxy understood about biology and medicine. It would also explain how such a relatively fragile-looking species had survived long enough to develop space travel on their harsh homeworld. Nurse, prepare a full medical report, Dr. Velthok said as he placed the final sutures. And contact the Galactic Medical Council immediately. They need to know about this. As Captain Kim's vital signs stabilized and his new liver began functioning normally, Dr. Velthok knew that everything he thought he understood about human biology was about to change forever. Dr. Velthak's emergency report to the Galactic Medical Council caused chaos across the galaxy. Within 12 hours of his transmission, the medical station Asclepius Prime received priority clearance for the fastest ships from 17 different star systems. The most brilliant minds in galactic medicine were dropping everything to witness what Dr. Velthok had discovered. The first to arrive was Dr. Yilmora from the Crystalline Collective, her transparent body shimmering with excitement as she reviewed the medical data. Her species was known for their analytical minds and precise scientific methods. She had spent 3 centuries studying regenerative biology across the galaxy. "Show me the patient," she demanded, immediately upon boarding the station Captain Kim. Taeho was awake now, sitting up in his medical bed and looking confused by all the attention. His dark eyes showed no signs of the trauma he had endured just days before. The regenerated liver was functioning perfectly, as if it had never been damaged. "I feel fine," he told Dr. Yilmora, as she ran her crystalline fingers over various scanning devices. "Better than fine, actually. Feel stronger than before the accident." Dr. Yilmora's body pulsed with different colors as she processed the scan results. Remarkable. The cellular structure is not just healthy, it's perfect. No scarring, no weakness, no signs of rapid growth. It's as if this liver developed naturally over years, not ours. More experts arrived throughout the day. Professor Hecton from the Voidwalkers brought advanced genetic analysis equipment. Dr. Zorth from the Metal Beings contributed molecular scanners that could examine individual cells. Each new arrival brought different theories and more sophisticated instruments. "We need to examine other humans," announced Dr. Silketh, the head of the Galactic Medical Council. Her 6 arms gestured toward the growing crowd of scientists. "One case could be an anomaly. We need to understand if this is normal for the species." Dr. Velthok accessed the medical database and began searching through human patient records. From across the galaxy, what he found made his compound eyes widen with realization. Cases that had been labeled as miraculous recoveries or exceptional healing suddenly looked very different. "Look at this," he called out to the assembled scientists. "Human female, age 28, survived a plasma explosion that should have killed her. Report says she made a full recovery in 3 days. And here," added Dr. Yilmora, reading from another file. "Human male, lost 3 fingers in an industrial accident. Grew them back completely within 2 weeks. The attending physician assumed he had misunderstood the extent of the original injury." Professor Hecton's voice boomed through his translation device. "We have been treating humans for 50 years and never noticed this. How is that possible?" Dr. Veltak realized the answer, "'Cause we always intervene. Human medicine is advanced enough that they rarely need complete organ regeneration. We provide artificial organs, synthetic tissue, surgical repairs. We never let the natural process complete itself." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humans had been hiding their greatest biological advantage simply because their own medical technology was too good. They had been fixing problems before their bodies could demonstrate their incredible natural abilities. "We need volunteers," Dr. Silketh announced. "Humans who are willing to let us study their regenerative capabilities under controlled conditions." Within Hours. The call went out across human space. The response was overwhelming. Humans from every corner of the galaxy wanted to understand their own biology better. Merchants, soldiers, engineers, and scientists all volunteered to participate in the most important medical study in galactic history. Captain Kim became the first official test subject. Under careful supervision, the medical team made small, controlled injuries to observe the healing process. A tiny cut on his arm healed completely within minutes. A small section of removed muscle tissue regrew within hours. This is incredible. Dr. Yulmora observed as she watched Kim's body repair itself. The speed and efficiency surpass anything we've seen in nature. Dr. Velthok was documenting everything, his forearms working constantly to record data. The regeneration appears to be triggered by significant trauma. Minor injuries heal normally, but major damage activates this enhanced healing response. As news of the discovery spread throughout the galaxy, the reaction was immediate and dramatic. Species that had viewed humans as fragile newcomers suddenly saw them in a completely different light. The brave human explorers who ventured into dangerous space weren't just courageous, they were practically indestructible.
Ow.
This explains so much, Captain Kim said, as he watched his latest test wound heal. Why humans survived on Earth, despite all the dangers. Why we were able to develop space travel, despite our wars and disasters. We just kept rebuilding ourselves. Dr. Velthak looked at the human with new respect. Your species didn't just survive a hostile homeworld. You thrived because you couldn't really be destroyed. The medical team worked through the night documenting every aspect of human regenerative biology. What they discovered would change not just medicine, but the entire galaxy's understanding of what it meant to be human. By morning, the word had spread to every civilized world. Humans weren't just another species joining the galactic community. They were something entirely new and remarkable. The volunteer program began 3 days after the discovery. Dr. Velthok had never seen such enthusiasm from test subjects. Humans were arriving at Asclepius Prime from every corner of the galaxy, eager to understand their own bodies better. The medical bay that had once been quiet was now bustling with activity as scientists and volunteers worked together. Park Min-ho was the first volunteer to arrive. He was a starship engineer from the Titan mining colonies, a stocky man with calloused hands and bright eyes. When Dr. Velthak explained the testing procedures, Min-ho simply nodded and rolled up his sleeves. I've always healed fast, he said with a shrug. My crew used to joke that I was made of rubber, never thought much about it. Dr. Velthak carefully made a small cut on Min-ho's arm, watched through the scanner as the wound closed within minutes. But when they tested deeper tissue damage, something extraordinary happened. Min-ho's body began regrowing damaged muscle fibers at an incredible rate. How do you feel? Dr. Yulmora asked, her crystalline form pulsing with excitement. Min-ho replied, flexing his arm. Actually better than fine. Stronger somehow. The next volunteer was Lee So-young, a merchant trader who had broken her leg in 3 places during a recent accident. Her human doctor had said she would need months to heal properly, but she had insisted on joining the study instead. Break it again, she told Dr. Velthak confidently. I want to see what happens. Under carefully controlled conditions, the medical team created a small fracture in her arm bone. The scanners immediately showed intense cellular activity at the break site. New bone tissue began forming faster than any of the scientists had thought possible. Incredible, Professor Hecton observed through his translation device. The bone is not just healing, it's becoming stronger than before. Within 6 hours, So-young's arm was completely healed. X-ray scans showed no evidence of any break, and the bone density was actually higher than her baseline measurements. I told you, she said, moving her arm normally. Humans are tougher than we look. But the most remarkable case was Choi Haijin, a shuttle pilot who had suffered brain damage. In a recent crash, her human doctors had told her she would never fly again, that the neural damage was permanent. She had volunteered for the study as a last hope. Brain tissue doesn't regenerate, Dr. Silkith explained to the gathered scientists. No known species can repair neural damage. Dr. Velthak carefully monitored Haijin's brain activity while using advanced scanners to examine the damaged areas. What he saw challenged everything he knew about biology. "The neural pathways are rebuilding themselves," he announced in amazement. "New connections are forming around the damaged tissue." Over the next week, Hygen's brain scans showed continuous improvement. The dead neural tissue was being replaced with healthy cells. Her coordination improved daily, and her memory sharpened. By the end of the study period, she was piloting simulation runs with perfect scores. "How is this possible?" Dr. Yomura asked, studying the brain scans. "Neural regeneration should be impossible for any carbon-based life form." Dr. Velthak was documenting everything, his forearms working constantly. "It appears that humans have different levels of regenerative ability. Some can regrow limbs, others heal bones quickly, and a few can even repair brain damage." The variety of human abilities was staggering. Some volunteers could regrow lost fingers within days. Others could heal cuts that would leave scars on any other species. A few demonstrated the ability to recover from injuries that would be fatal to most galactic races. "We're not all the same," Captain Kim observed, as he watched the other volunteers demonstrate their abilities. "Some humans heal faster than others, just like some are stronger or smarter." Dr. Velthak realized that human regenerative abilities existed on a spectrum. Every human had some level of enhanced healing, but the extent varied greatly between individuals. It was like discovering that an entire species had been hiding superpowers without even knowing it. "This changes everything," Dr. Silkath announced. To the medical council, "Human biology is far more advanced than we understood. They're not just another species joining the galactic community." The volunteers were eager to share their stories. Many had experienced unusual healing throughout their lives but had never thought it was special. They had assumed all species could recover from injuries the way they did. "On Earth, we have stories about people who survived impossible accidents," Minho explained. "We thought they were just lucky. Now I wonder if they were just being human." Dr. Velthak found himself becoming deeply impressed by human resilience. These weren't just tough survivors. They were living proof that biology could achieve things that seemed impossible. "Your species adapted to survive on one of the most dangerous worlds in the galaxy," he told the volunteers. "You didn't just develop intelligence or technology. You developed the ability to literally rebuild yourselves." As the testing continued, one thing became clear. Humans weren't the fragile newcomers that other species had assumed. They were something far more remarkable, and the galaxy was just beginning to understand what that meant. Discovery. Dr. Velthek stood in the Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Medical Council, watching as Captain Kim Taho took his oath as the first human member of the prestigious organization. The ceremony was being broadcast across the galaxy, with billions of beings watching this historic moment. "Today marks a new chapter in galactic medicine," announced Dr. Silkath, her 6 arms raised in the traditional gesture of welcome. "We welcome not just a new council member, but a representative of the most remarkable species we have ever encountered." Dr. Velthak smiled with all 4 of his facial muscles. The past year had been the most exciting of his long career. The Human Regenerative Research Institute had been established with him as its director, and the discoveries kept coming every day. In the research wing of Asclepius Prime, scientists from dozens of species worked alongside human volunteers to understand the full extent of human regenerative abilities. The facility had become the most important medical research center in the galaxy, with waiting lists for both researchers and patients. "Doctor, you need to see this," called Dr. Yomura from across the laboratory. Her crystalline form was pulsing. With excitement as she examined a young human volunteer, Dr. Velthak approached the examination table, where 8-year-old Han Jiwoo sat, swinging his legs and grinning. The boy had lost a tooth that morning during breakfast, and his mother had brought him to the institute to document the natural replacement process. "Watch the scanners," Dr. Yomura said, pointing to the displays with her transparent fingers. "Doctor." Velthak observed the readings with fascination. The boy's new tooth was already beginning to form, growing at a rate that would have been impossible for most species. What should have taken weeks was happening in hours. "This is normal for human children," Jiwoo's mother explained. "I lost teeth all the time when I was little. They always grew back quickly." Dr. Velthak realized that humans had been demonstrating their regenerative abilities their entire lives. But nobody had understood how special it was. What humans considered normal childhood development was actually an incredible biological process. The discovery had changed everything about how the galaxy viewed humanity. The brave human explorers who ventured into dangerous territories weren't just courageous. They were practically indestructible. Human colonies in hostile environments suddenly made sense. Human soldiers who survived impossible battles were no longer considered lucky. The implications extend far beyond medicine, Captain Kim had told the Council during his first official meeting. Human exploration and colonization efforts succeed because we can survive conditions that would kill other species. Trade routes that had been considered too dangerous for most species were now regularly traveled by human merchants. Mining operations in hazardous environments were increasingly staffed by human workers. The galaxy's most dangerous jobs were becoming human specialties. Dr. Veltak had received reports from across the galaxy about humans demonstrating their abilities. A human construction worker on Proxima Station had fallen from a great height and completely healed from multiple broken bones within days. A human scientist on the ice moon of Kethtar had survived exposure to deadly radiation and recovered completely. We're not just treating humans differently, Professor Hecton had observed during a recent conference. We're redesigning our entire approach to dangerous occupations and exploration. The research had also revealed the evolutionary history behind human regenerative abilities. Earth's violent history, with its natural disasters, predators, and harsh climate changes, had shaped humans into the ultimate survivors. While other species had developed specialized adaptations, humans had developed the ability to adapt to anything by literally rebuilding themselves. Your planet tried to kill you for millions of years, Dr. Velthok had told Captain Kim during one of their research sessions. So you evolved to be unkillable. The discovery had also brought humans new respect in galactic politics. Species that had once viewed them as weak newcomers now sought human allies for difficult missions. The human tendency to volunteer for dangerous assignments was no longer seen as reckless bravery, but as a logical use of their natural abilities. In the Institute's children's wing, Dr. Velthak watched young Jiwoo's new tooth emerge fully formed. The boy jumped down from the examination table and ran to show his mother, completely unaware that he had just demonstrated something that amazed the galaxy's greatest scientists. What other species calls impossible, humans call Tuesday, Doctor? Velthek said to Dr. Yilmora, repeating a phrase that had become popular among researchers. The crystalline doctor pulsed with amusement. They don't even realize how special they are. To them, this is just normal life. As Dr. Velthak watched the human family leave the Institute, he reflected on how much had changed. The galaxy had gained not just new citizens, but a species that redefined what was possible in biology. Humans had earned their place among the stars, not through superior technology or intelligence, but through their incredible ability to survive and thrive in conditions that would destroy others. The future belonged to a galaxy where humans would push the boundaries of exploration, taking on challenges that no other species could survive. And Dr. Velthek would be there to document every amazing discovery along the way.